Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is the Thrift Shop Hustler. What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you reaching out and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's no problem. I was just talking before the show. I don't know if you know or not, but I'm a subscriber of your channel. I don't get to watch all your videos, but whenever I have free time, I try to catch up with your videos and see how things been going. So, you want to tell people where you're from and introduce yourself in case people don't know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. I've had a YouTube channel for about 3 years, and we talk about stuff like what sells on eBay, what's sold on eBay. I have a Know Your Stuff series where I go deep diving into maybe Beanie Babies or something like that. So there's lots of different subjects. I've been an eBay seller since 1996, and I've seen a lot of stuff throughout the years. I've been a resale for a very long time, so I've seen things come and go. I've used many platforms. I'm on Amazon. I do merch. I'm on Etsy. I've tried Poshmark. I've pretty much done all the major selling networks. So, I have a lot of experience under my belt, and I try to, share some of that knowledge of all these years with my channel. That's basically my channel and who I am.
So basically, in translation, you have a black belt in reselling, right? You got older anybody they need to have a question about eBay, Etsy, whatever. You're the go-to guy. They could come ask you. Just give me 1 second. I want to catch people in the chat. We got Kentucky Fan 42, we got American Made, we got Bearded Veteran, and we have Landshark Picker here. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming by. If you have questions for the guest, drop it in the chat, and we'll get to it. So, you want to tell everybody a little bit about your background before you became a reseller, like what your background was, how you got into this business? Go ahead.
Oh man, my background is I was like an infant. I was a little kid. Like I got into this in 1986, and it was Garbage Pail Series 2 or Series 3 in 1990 or 1986 when I was 6 years old. And I used to buy packs of cards and then sell them to the neighborhood kids, and then I would take that money and buy more cards and then snowball that whole thing. So that's like reselling started at 6. At 8, my dad used to take me to swap meets, and I used to set up a shop, and I had like a table, and I would sell like toys that I wasn't playing with, and I had baseball cards and stuff. So I started at a very early age, and then it led into video games, and then collectibles, and then cards, and then here I am today.
Okay, awesome. And you said that you used to work in production, right?
Yeah, I was in the movie industry for 15 years. I was an editor. I basically worked on Netflix shows and iTunes stuff. I basically made the files that went on those shows. So I got to work on a lot of TV shows before they were aired. The most famous one I worked on was probably Breaking Bad. I knew the ending like maybe a month before it aired, and that was exciting. And there's actually a lot of crazy funny tie-ins that go to reselling when you're working in the movie industry, because you get to see a lot of these movies, you get to work on a lot of this stuff before it's even released. And there's been a couple times where I've seen product placement or things that are in movies that, like Baby Yoda. Like if you knew about Baby Yoda before it came out and you had a bunch of Baby Yoda stuff to sell, you would be in the driver's seat. And there was many times where I saw like a particular thing in a movie, and I'm like, oh, people are going to go crazy for this, and I would buy stuff in advance and make a little bit of money like that. And that was an interesting parallel for working in the movies, but it was a fun time.
Right. So I just think that's interesting to me that you would go from working in production and making movies, and now you're like a reseller, right? So is that reselling that's not your only source of income. I mean, that's not your only full-time job. You said you work for the American Cancer Society. Is that correct?
Yeah, so right now I'm their e-commerce manager. I'm in charge of like 50 different stores. We have one store, and we have different volunteers and managers that put stuff on eBay. So I basically manage all that stuff. Right now we're in the office. I do a lot of listing myself too. So I kind of transitioned from getting laid off in the movie industry because they outsourced our jobs to India, and through building relationships coming into this thrift shop, because we have basically like 50 shops on the West Coast. This one that's in Burbank, I would come in there like all the time for the last 5 years, and a lady that was doing this job basically moved on to another job, and they asked me if I'd be interested in this job. And it was kind of funny because I just got laid off, and they knew that I had eBay experience, and I basically slid right into this job. And it's evolved more since I've got here, because when I first started, I was just in charge of listing for a couple shops, and now like I'm in charge of this whole thing, trying to build kind of like a shop Goodwill kind of, and that's kind of what our future plans are, is to have like a really large marketplace to be selling some of these items that get donated to us.
Okay, cool. I got a couple questions for you. First of all, I want to know what that was like when they came, basically knocked on the door and was like, hey, your whole department's going to be outsourced to India. Like, were you kind of taken by surprise? Did you kind of know it was coming? Were you kind of like have hints like, hey, man, I don't know if I have job security. I don't know how much longer this is going to last. Like, did they give you a heads up? Did they give you a severance package? What happened?
So I was in that line of work for like 15 years. And in the very first maybe 12 years, it was really fun and exciting. And then they would bring in like different CEOs and different presidents, and they would try to justify their job by changing everything up, trying to like be new and inventive when like literally the same things have worked for like 50 years and they try to change it up. So I knew like, stuff was coming down the line when I was hearing rumors about stuff getting outsourced to India. I knew something was going on, but to be honest, I was relieved. I was relieved that I got let go, because I was really getting jaded, and I really started to hate the job that I was doing. And so I was thinking about doing reselling full time. And I did try that once I get laid off. And I will say, anyone that does reselling full time, I commend you. I applaud you. It is a lot of work. And this is from someone that's been doing this for a long time. It is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of sacrifice. So I love all you guys that do that.
Yeah, well, and also you can get sidetracked pretty easily, so you get a phone call, you got something else going on, there's a TV show you want to watch, you get caught up doing the dishes or doing the laundry, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to list here in a little bit, and then you forget all about it. But I was just bringing it up because I think it was interesting, because we have people from all different walks of life. We had my buddy Rev Resell was on a couple weeks ago, and he's a full-time pastor, and he's a reseller. So you have people from all different walks of life. Myself, I was a forklift driver. I was working for General Electric as a forklift driver, and I would load up GE appliances in the back of semi-trucks. And I worked there from 2006 to 2016, and I was there about 10 years, and I could kind of see the writing on the wall. I'm like, look, they're not going to pay me. I'm already making $80,000 a year. They're not going to keep giving us raises because it's a union job. So I'm like, they're not going to keep giving us raises and pay us $100,000 a year to drive a forklift. At some point in time, this is going to hit the wall. So you just got to have a backup plan. So one day they just knocked on the door and they was like, hey, Jeff, guess what? We sold, the whole company's being sold to China. Your whole department's being outsourced. Have a good day. So, stuff happens. You just have to have a backup plan. That's why I think it's really important that we all have multiple streams of income. Like, you work for the American Cancer Society, but you also have your own eBay store as well. You have other streams of income. So if something ever happened, if you got laid off or sick or something happens, you can still eat. You can still pay the bills, right?
Yeah. And I think I've built that. Now, I didn't, when I was a kid, I didn't really think like, oh, this is what's going to happen. But it was just, I had 100 hobbies. So like, I know about 100 different things. I know about baseball cards. I do merch by Amazon, which is like, I do, t-shirts and things like that. And there's a lot of eggs in the basket in case one thing kind of, messes up, like FBA. Like right now, I wouldn't suggest anyone get into FBA because they seem to be changing the rules every like 6 months. And in the very beginning, you could just literally load up a car of stuff and send it to them, and that would be good. And now it's like, you really got to be like, God, could I send this? Should I send this? And fulfilled merchant fulfillment is looking like the way to go now, instead of, sending all your stuff in. So yeah, it's definitely good to start learning about different things, because you never know. You can't pigeonhole yourself into one niche, because we live in a time where technology, like we said before, is moving so quick that you need to be able to pivot on a dime.
Yeah, we were talking before the show started, and we were just talking about how, I wake up sometimes, I'm like, man, we're in the year 2020, and then if things keep going the way it is, you got to think about where the trends are going to be in 10, 15, 20 years down the line, not where they used to be. Like those days of working a warehouse job or some factory job. Like my grandfather, he retired from the Ford Motor Company, and for 30, 40 years, that's all he did is working on the assembly line, building cars and trucks, and he worked in the plant. My uncle retired from Ford. He worked at the plant. And when I graduated high school, I always thought, man, I'm just going to get me a factory job. I'm going to get hired on at the Ford plant. That's going to be it. I'm cool with being a blue collar worker. I'm cool with having a pension and health insurance and benefits and job security. All that stuff appealed to me. But you got to think that there's no niche that you can go to where your job's going to be secure and you could just sit back and hit the cruise control. It just doesn't work that way. The days where you would work a job for 30, 40 years and they give you a gold watch and you ride off into the sunset, it doesn't really exist anymore, you know? So you got to kind of plan ahead. And as you said, don't have all your eggs in one basket. Now, I have some questions for you pertaining with the job you're at now with the American Cancer Society. Do people donate stuff to you like the Goodwill or how explain a little bit how that whole process works? Okay, go ahead.
So,
oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Go ahead. I hit the mute button by accident. Go ahead.
It's all good. Yeah, it's basically like a Goodwill. They're called discovery shops, and there's about 50 of them, and we're opening up a couple of them a year. The whole situation that's going on right now has kind of slowed down that process, but basically people do donate their stuff, and there's different volunteers and associates that go through it. And some of the higher end items might come to me, or I might go to different stores and look through their back rooms and kind of do that. Because that's another thing is like I'm a consultant also because of the encyclopedia of knowledge of this and that and this and that. Like the other day I was teaching volunteers about the big Levi's, or and that's just one thing. Or I'd tell them about Anchor Bay DVDs. Like, so it's like the spectrum is very wide, but we do get stuff in, and then it goes, the stuff that we don't use that doesn't go into the store will get recycled, and there's other ways that we generate income, and that's basically how that works.
Okay, cool. And so you're the overseer of this project, right? So do you get paid like hourly? Do you get paid on a commission or a salary, or how does that work? I'm just curious because I've never worked for the American Cancer Society before. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how it works for other places, but I do get paid a salary, and it's a very nice salary. So they take care of me, and I think that's what's one of the things I love about working for the American Cancer Society is I can roll out of bed thinking, I'm getting paid a decent salary for what I can provide them, and also like there's life-saving mission. We're trying to cure cancer. We're trying to help cancer survivors. We're trying to help the families cope with people that are diagnosed with cancer. So it's a win-win situation. And to be honest, like I feel like I've actually found my dream job. And, my goal is to build this whole organization, into the 21st century with e-commerce and all the stuff that's going on. Corona shut down a lot of shops. We're like kind of like half open now. With the hours and things like that. So we've kind of pivoted in our business, and, it's kind of made us stronger too, because now we're relying a lot more on the e-commerce side of everything, and resellers. All of us here, resellers, we've actually, in the driver's seat as far as like what the whole situation was earlier this year. Hopefully we'll get out of that next year, but we are some of the people that were relied on during this time to facilitate all kinds of needs.
Yeah. I mean, when people were scared to leave their house, and then you could have packages show up at their front door, that's pretty convenient. And I think eBay alone this year, I think they added like 8 million new buyers to the platform this year alone. So, I mean, that was the last time I checked. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can generate revenue. You just got to stay focused and get items listed. I want to catch some people in the chat. I don't want to ignore the people in the chat. We got Bearded Veteran here. We got this Overstuff House says, I need a break from editing my own videos. I saw this on I love catching these lives. Hey, thanks for coming by. We appreciate you. My man Richie Hustles is here. Says eBay addicts on that hustle. Hey man, I saw you on Instagram yesterday, man. Keep up the good work. Thanks for coming by. I think I got everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. We got Joey Bada Bing here. Let's go, he says, and we got Landshark Picker. So we got our friendly neighborhood mailman here. So when your stuff comes in, you sort it out, or how does that work? Because I think I saw your video. I watched your interview with Adam, and you said you sold this broken watch for like $4,000. You want to tell us a little bit about how this whole thing works? Because how do you look at this stuff and say, okay, this pile is garbage, this pile is junk, this is good, and we can resell it? Because some of the stuff might be damaged, but it's still salvageable. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So a lot of our associates and volunteers have been doing this for a long time. So they just over the years have got used to like what's what. I don't actually physically go through, a lot of the donations or anything. I usually get stuff secondhand, or if I'm in a store and I happen to be there, and I can just kind of go through that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's just there's a lot of experienced people and volunteers. We are very volunteer heavy, so that's really important to us. And it's just people know what they're looking for. And that's what's great about me coming, because I actually add a fresh perspective to everything, because a lot of the volunteers and the associates are older women. So I bring a whole wealth of knowledge. I actually take a lot of knowledge from them because I'm not really good at jewelry and clothing. But the 2 years that I've worked here, I'll tell you, I've learned so much about those niches, and they've learned a lot from me. And so that's usually how everything is usually sorted, is by volunteers and associates that know what they're doing.
Okay, and so how long have you been there now with the American Cancer Society? How long have you been there now?
I've been here for about 2 years.
Okay, and so to somebody in the chat, they asked a question. They wanted to know, how many items do you have on your eBay stores? We talked before the show started, and you said that you have a couple of your own personal eBay stores. You want to talk a little bit about that and what niches or what areas you specialize in?
I have a couple other stores, and they've been kind of neglected ever since I've been doing this, because I do this full time, and then I don't want to go home and do eBay again all over. So my stores have been neglected, but I do have a store that's dedicated to postcards, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and that's been pretty fun, because I've always been into postcards. And there was a guy, a reseller or a YouTuber called Popeye's Postcards, and he really got me into it like a couple of years ago. And I started my store, and I've been doing that. But my own personal stuff has kind of been neglected as far as my eBay stores. As far as how many things, I think I have like maybe, I don't know, 400 or 500 postcards in my personal store. But our charity eBay shop, and you can go to cancer.org/eBay to see our shop. We have almost 1,000 items in there. And to be honest, like, it would be great to have 0 items in there with everything sold. I think people get hung up too much on how many items you get in your store, because to me, sure, that's great and everything, but you really want that number to be 0.
Well, it just depends on what your business model is. Right now, I think I'm at 4,200 items in my eBay store.
Wow.
And I'm trying to get to 10,000. So it's not something that but I sell a lot of media. So, for example, I sell a lot of Blu-rays, DVDs, video games, things like that. I was actually just looking before the show started. I found a guy up in Wisconsin, and he has pallets of CDs that are brand new in the shrink wrap, and he could get it shipped to your door for 40 cents a piece. So you buy, let's say you buy, I think for 500 of them, it was like $200 for 500 of them. Okay. So you got to think, if you got 500 of them shipped to your door, your buy cost is right around 40 cents a piece. Now, they're brand new in a shrink wrap. You don't have to worry about them, none of them being scratched up or damaged or anything like that. Right. You're not going to get a lot of customer returns. And so let's say if each one of them sold for $15 a piece, let's say you got a minimum of $10 a piece times 500. Now you're turning $200 into $5,000 worth of merchandise. And see, the thing is, I don't know if you know or not, but when they changed the new rules now with the items that are in these select categories, a lot of the items that I sell, DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, CDs, are all in this select category. So at the end of the 30 days, if your item doesn't sell, you pay a 0 insertion fee. So you really have no risk involved. The only risk that you have involved is you're paying, like example, 40 cents for brand new merchandise sealed in the shrink wrap, shipped right to your front door. So I'm not out fighting traffic. I'm not waiting in line to check out. Boom. And think about it. If you had 1,000 of them shipped to your door and you spent $400, right? You have 1,000 of them shipped to your door. $10 times 1,000 is how much? That's $10,000 worth of merchandise for $400. And I didn't even have to leave the house. I had them shipped right to my front door. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do, is expand with having bulk lots shipped to my house. And, I still go out and go sourcing. I still go to Walmart clearance and Dollar Tree, and I go out and hit other locations. But it's like, in order for me to grow and expand, I can't do that going to a yard sale getting 1 or 2 items at a time. It just doesn't make sense for me to do that. 2 items at a yard sale, and I'm trying to get 10,000 items. That's a lot of yard sales, So that's what I've been into. I want to catch some people here in the chat. We got this overstuffed house. I have to hustle. I have a house packed with stuff. Hey, that sounds like my house. So I have a shed in the backyard as well. I want to say hi to Nikki T. Says, hey, eBay addicts, you have a super knowledgeable guest on today. I know. I'm telling you. We were just saying that Chris here has got a black belt in reselling. So if you ask him a question, he's like the Karate Kid of reselling, right? We have this overstuffed house is here, and we got my man Fundamentals of Side Hustling. Derek is here. So if you haven't seen Derek, you should check his channel out. So Talk a little bit about what got you into postcards. Is there anything that, because I feel like there's a niche of information like postcards or something like that you know a lot about, that the general person might walk right by it and not even know they're walking by profit. And I like the item that you talked about because it's small, it's lightweight, it's not heavy, it's not bulky, it doesn't take up a lot of space. Because when you start talking about listing 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 items, and let's say they're big bulky items, you're running out of space. That becomes a problem. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into postcards and things that we need to look for? Go ahead, Chris.
So I got into postcards I've been into postcards ever since I was a kid because I used to collect baseball cards, and sometimes when you buy collections and stamps and things, sometimes postcards would naturally be in those collections. So I love the views and the different subjects that are on there. But about a couple of years ago, there was a gentleman called Popeye's Postcards, John, who had a really good YouTube channel all about postcards. And I started communicating with him and mentoring with him. And he was I would take what he was doing in his videos and showing how he does it. And then I would try to not emulate, but at least figure out my own ways to kind of do something like that. And I was noticing, there were some pretty good profits in that because you can get postcards for like 10 cents, 25 cents. And then, you can sell them for, easily like $3 to $4, $5, $10 on up. The ones to really look out for that are really popular right now are like the old black and white photograph ones. They're called real photo postcards. Not all of them are going to be worth a ton, but if you can get some really interesting views, like plane crashes or just something really weird and stuff like that, especially if you can find a famous person in one of those postcards and one of those real photo ones, that could be worth thousands of dollars.
Awesome. So where do you find these postcards? At a yard sale, a estate sale? Like where would I go? Because I can't go to Walmart clearance section and find postcards. Like where would I find these? And are new ones worth more money than used ones? Can you talk a little bit about, like, let's say I'm at an estate sale and I run into some postcards. Would I just make an offer and buy all of them? Or should I pick out certain ones that are better than other ones? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I would probably definitely buy like them in bulk if you can. You can go on all different types you can go on eBay, you can go on Macari, you can go on Craigslist to find collections. I would definitely if I saw a lot of them and they were at a estate sale, I would probably just buy them all, because if you think about it, maybe like a stack like that is like 200 postcards. So if they're saying like, $5 for that, that's a buy. Even if they're all junk, you can sell them on lots in other places. Etsy is a good place because people buy them all the time just for scrap purposes and other kind of crafting things. So, that's usually how you source them. You're rarely going to find them, honestly, at garage sales and estate sales, though they do pop up there from time to time. You're more likely going to find great collections, like on Craigslist or like, someone listing on eBay. Though I will say eBay is filled with people that sell postcards. So they basically cherry pick everything. And then you're going to get like basically a bunch of junk. So you got to kind of know what you're looking at. And that goes with everything, like lot sniping, which is a technique where you basically look at lots and then you can see different things that are in that lot. And you're like, okay, I can make my money back with these particular items. I'm going to buy that. So yeah, it's very involved. I mean, I have a scanner that scans the postcards. You feed them right in. I use stamps and white envelopes to, photo envelopes. They're kind of like cardboard to ship them. So they're really cheap. Now that's, a lot of people are torn with that technique of stamps because there's no tracking. And I will say like 99% of the time, I've never had a problem and I've shipped thousands of postcards. The only thing is you won't get top rated seller because you don't have that tracking metric. And that is a turnoff for a lot of people that want to get into postcards because they want their top rated seller status. And to me, it doesn't matter to me that 10%, but if you're working on a thin profit margin, that 10% is going to mean, a lot to some sellers, but to me, it's not a big deal.
Okay, cool. I want to say hi to Russell here in the chat. We got, I think Joe is here for Family Flips. So if you guys haven't checked him out, you definitely want to go check out Family Flips. We got Nikki T is here. We got This Overstuff House. And I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I saw my man Fundamentals of Side Hustling was here. So tell me a little bit about your new video that you just had come out. You had something about these cards that you sold them for $15,000. And I was like, okay, I got the trading card done, but the whole digital blockchain thing lost me. I was watching it and I was like, okay, there's something here I'm not getting. Go ahead and tell us about it, Chris.
So, we touched about it earlier in this video about technology changing and, with blockchain technology. And for those that don't know, it's basically like a digital ledger. It's kind of, there's a little technical side to everything, but it's basically like digitizing collectibles, like having, online cards. But anyways, Topps finally did a set of Garbage Pail Kids. They took the original series from 1985 and they digitized them on the blockchain. And this is like, the first time a major company has done this on the blockchain. Now, there's been tons of companies that have done digital cards, but they're housed on a server. And once that server goes, your collection's basically worthless. Blockchain is a separate thing where you actually own the digital copy because it's basically, its own unique thing and its own, network and its own thing. So it's it sounds a little crazy and a little hard to describe, but it's really not. It's basically like digital assets that you own. They're called non-fungible tokens. And you just have to have a digital wallet. So instead of like having a box of baseball cards, a cardboard box of baseball cards, you have a digital box of baseball cards, and they're all yours. They're all unique with codes.
Okay. And so I'm trying to figure out, how did you make $15,000 selling them though? Like I got the trading part card and I got the digital part, but I'm trying to figure out where the $15,000 comes in at. How does someone make money selling these? Go ahead.
Gotcha.
Are they collectible or something?
Exactly. So when I heard about this, and I've been in the blockchain space, the Bitcoin space since 2012. And when I saw that Topps was doing this, it was the first time a major collectible company has got involved in the blockchain. And so I thought like, oh, okay, these will be great. So basically I spent $1,000 on packs, digital packs that had 5 cards a piece in them. So I bought a bunch of them. And then I started selling them on eBay because people were buying them and people were buying them so they were $5, right? For a pack of 5. So basically like $1 a card, $1 a digital card. And then the packs were starting to sell for $25, $45, $55, $100 for a pack that I spent $5 on. So that's where all that money basically came from. And not only that, I opened a bunch of packs too when I got them. So I had all these other cards, and there's inserts and there's special editions and limited edition cards that I was selling. So on top of selling the packs, I was selling the cards too. So basically all this money just compounded. The only thing that I would say, selling stuff digitally stuff on eBay is kind of fishy, not fishy, but there's lots of risk involved, because if you send a digital item to your buyer, they can do a chargeback, and then there's nothing really you can do because it's on the blockchain. You literally sent a piece of information to another wallet, and really there's no chargeback. So that's the only thing that I probably wouldn't get into that kind of stuff anymore. So it's kind of like a risk to me. Trying to sell all those digital items on eBay, because there could have been a ton of chargebacks. Luckily for me, there wasn't any chargebacks, because when people got their packs that paid $25 and $45 and $65 and they saw that they were $100 a pack, they probably just flipped them. So there was no room to kind of like, oh, I didn't make my money, so now I'm going to do a chargeback. There's a lot of that kind of shady stuff that goes on with eBay. And so, I think I did pretty well with that. But basically, it was a flip. It was like a 10 times, 20 times flip. And that's how I made the money. They came out with a Series 2 maybe a month ago, and it didn't even have close to the response that the Series 1 did.
Yeah, if you guys have ever played like NBA 2K21, they have digital basketball cards in the video game, and people open up packs, and then they find these rare cards, and then they flip them and sell them or whatever online for digital currency. So it kind of reminded me of that, because I was thinking like, where else have I seen people buying or selling digital cards before? So do you want to talk a little bit about, I'm really curious about your merch by Amazon. You want to talk a little bit about that, your experience about selling merch by Amazon? I get questions from time to time, but I'm not an expert on selling merch. You want to talk a little bit about that, Chris?
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 3 years. And for those that don't know, Merch by Amazon is basically where you can design t-shirts and then you sell them on the Amazon platform. There's copyright stuff, so you can't like put a Coca-Cola logo. So you got to be clever and come up with your own kind of logos. I did a lot of blockchain, because I've been in blockchain since 2012. So I did a lot of Bitcoin shirts and a lot of stuff like that. And, you can find your own different niches. So like every Halloween, you can make funny like Halloween shirts. And you've seen kind of like, people wearing those shirts that have a bunch of text on them. It's like, oh, I love pumpkin spice lattes or something. A lot of that kind of stuff does very well. And you basically just go on Photoshop or you go on any kind of digital software. You can create logos and then basically put them on shirts and then sell them through Amazon. And that's basically merch by Amazon.
Okay, and how do people actually make money? Like, what kind of money, what kind of profit margins are we talking about here? Because with Merch by Amazon, you're just coming up with the design. They're fulfilling the orders for you and shipping them out. So it's not like eBay where you're boxing up physical items and shipping them out to your customers. You're coming up with a design, and you get basically a royalty check whenever the item sells. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's basically a commission, and the percentage is basically however much you want to charge. So the lower you charge for the shirt, the less of a percentage you're going to get. So usually people charge like $19.99 a shirt, and you're probably going to make maybe $4 or $5 per sale a shirt. So your job as the seller also is to get people to see that listing and buy a bunch of shirts, because it's basically a volume business. And people try to undercut each other with prices and things like that. And there's a lot of kind of weird stuff that goes on with people that take a really good design that's selling very well. They make their own copy, and then they start becoming the big seller. So there's a lot of competition. I found that Printful is another company that does shirts, and you could do the same thing with Etsy. And I find that Etsy profits are way better than Merch by Amazon profits. And that's a whole other thing in itself, using that service.
Okay, do you want to talk a little bit about that? So since you're already touching a little bit on Etsy, because and talk a little bit about how that is. I'm just because most of the people that we have on, they just talk about Amazon, we talk about eBay. They don't really go into the other avenues. So I mean, since we already got you on the show and you have experience, because I have people that will write me and email me, and I'm like, look, I'm not an expert on Merch by Amazon or selling on Etsy, but I can bring on guests that are. That's what I just try to be honest. If I don't know, I don't know. So go ahead, tell us about how the platform is set up. I think they charge you 25 cents a listing on the platform, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually 20 cents, but I'd have to check. You get actually free listings on Etsy by just having people sign up for your affiliate link. But anyways, it's basically the same business model as Merch by Amazon. You use Printful, which is another printing company, and basically you send them the designs, and their software will allow you to kind of list on Etsy. So it's almost like Vendu or List Perfectly, where you use the Printful software or the Printful website to load your graphics, and then it pushes you to Etsy to do all the categories and the listings and the titles. And it's the same thing where you sell it and Printful fulfills those orders, just like Amazon. I find that the Printful profits are a lot better than the Amazon profits.
Yeah, but I mean, you got more traffic on the Amazon platform, so I think that's part of it. So, give me some tips, because you've been reselling for what, 30 years now, 25, 30 years. Give us your top 3 tips. If someone is a reseller, let's say that they're making part-time income. Let's say they're making $1,000, $2,000 a month, but they want to expand. They want to grow. Let's say they want to get to $10,000 a month in sales on eBay. Do you have some recommendations or some suggestions, your top 3 or 4 tips that would help some resellers?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, it's all about numbers. And I think all of us that have been in this game, you got to realize, like, let's say you want to make $100 a day, right? Selling eBay, just 100, like, let's just say it's $100 a day. You want to list $1,000 worth of stuff every single day. So it's like, that sounds crazy. That's 10 times of the stuff, but that's how you're going to get to those numbers. It's a pure number game. So if you want to increase your sales, you're going to have to start listing more. You're going to have to 10x your listing. You're going to have to do that. And you have to also be competitive with your pricing. You got to know a lot about what you're selling. Sometimes you got to go in every day and change like the prices. Sometimes you got to do promoted listings. There's a lot of things, but I would say if anyone wants to like increase their business, you just have to list more. Like that's just like, there's no science. It's not brain surgery. That's literally what you have to do. And I would suggest, if you ever come across different things that you find that you say, oh, well, I've never heard of this, but it's selling very well. Start learning about that stuff. Start going really deep into a subject. And I think that's what I did with glass and pottery a couple of years ago. And I've done some pretty well with glass and pottery over the last couple of years, just by saying like, wow, this pot sold for like $400. Like, what's the deal with this? How many other brands are like this? What's selling? What's not, and just going like that. So I would say list as much as you can, and basically learn as much as you can, and kind of get uncomfortable. List stuff that you wouldn't normally list too. And you'll grow your business.
Well, I look at it as there's only one or two ways of doing it. Either you're going to have to sell a higher volume of items of, 10, 15, $20 items, or you're going to have to raise your ASP, which is your average sell price. So that's only two
Absolutely.
ways of doing it. You're either going to have to raise your average sell price, let's say from $20 to 30 or $40 or $50 and sell less of them, or you're just going to have to sell a higher volume of cheaper items. That's the only way. I'm going for the volume game. I don't want to go to look around and hunt and look for 30, 40, $50 items. I'm totally cool with selling 10, 15, $20 items all day long. It don't bother me a bit, because I especially if I have, let's say I have 20 of the same SKU, the same model, I can just scan a barcode and say, okay, I have 20 of this DVD, type in quantity of 20, and then maybe I'll sell it for 10, 15, $20. Just type in, have 20 of them. Boom, go to the next listing. So you're just going to have to put the work in. And like I said, you're either going to have to do a high volume or you're going to have a high ASP, which is your average sell price. Now, do you have any other two or three other tips that would help people for reselling? Like, is there certain niche markets that we should look out for that's hot right now? Like we had a guest on the other day and he was talking about reselling basketball cards. He got some Panini basketball cards at Walmart and next day flipped them and sold them and made 3 times his money. So is there any bolos or hot snit market items we should look for with Christmas around the corner? Go ahead, Chris.
I would say, I don't know. Sports cards are very weird. Right now, the sports card industry is seeing like a huge dramatic uptick in that. Flippers have been around for as long as I can remember, and just trying to find that kind of stuff at Walmart is a lot hard. So if you don't really know much about basketball cards, I definitely probably wouldn't suggest getting into that market unless you do your research first, unless you happen to be there and you see that they have some cards there and you buy them and then do all that kind of stuff. But going like head first into that market is a little crazy. As far as the tips, if anyone doesn't have a USB scanner for their computer, you talked about DVDs and CDs. This thing saves me so much time. I can take a stack of DVDs and just start scanning these and just to figure out, okay, what is the horror movies that are worth $20? What are the horror movies that are worth $5? And then these are actually really nice to list too, because you just basically scan it in your search bar on eBay and it pops up like all the different things. And usually the things are already pre-filled. So that saves you a lot of time if you want to tip on media, because we sell a ton of media.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to look, if you guys get a chance, get the ones that are new in the shrink wrap. You're going to have a lot less returns. You don't have to worry about it being damaged. And it's going to go a lot quicker instead of you having used items if you can. So, hey, I want to say hi to a Lone Star Picker. I caught your show today with Daily Refinement. Me and Thrift Shop Hustler, we were both there in the chat. It was a good show today. We have some questions here. Russell says, let me try this again. Are you limited on what you can sell first on Etsy? And Nikki T says, eBay Addicts, what is its Etsy store name?
First to the Etsy store, to be honest, like I'm been very weary about sharing my information. I know that sounds a little counterproductive to being on YouTube and stuff like that, but I keep that stuff a little guarded because I've been on YouTube and I've done this so many times where I've had so many like great designs like stolen and you know what I mean, and just people want to pick apart and like no one wants to see your stuff just because, oh, wow, you're so cool, I want to see your stuff. People want to see your stuff because they want to emulate exactly what you're doing. And so I don't want to share any of my information with that. Just that's a privacy thing for me. I think anyone that's been in this business for a long time and has got burned knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I hope this doesn't offend anyone by not sharing like my personal stores, because they're personal for a reason. What was the other question?
Another question, it says, are you limited to what you can sell on Etsy? They want to know if they're gated like they are on Amazon or if they're allowed to sell any and everything. And also, it's not like eBay. They don't limit how many items you can list, right?
That is actually a really great question, because I think Etsy's, it has this stigma about like, I don't know about Etsy. I heard all these stories, and Etsy's really good for vintage items. You can't really sell like, brand new items. It's more like a crafting kind of place to sell things. So you're not gated, but you can't sell certain things on that platform. But you can't basically do copyright infringement stuff. You can't make a design of Mickey Mouse or Coca-Cola or something like that and put it up there and expect that to last for very long, because unfortunately there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of copyright infringement on Etsy, but you don't want to get caught up with that. But there is some gating, like I said. It's not like eBay where you can list like brand new whatever, like electronics. It's basically like a crafting thing. So you have some photo paper, or you have some different things, or vintage items. You can sell literally almost any vintage item. So if you had some, I don't know, vintage roller skates or something like that, you can get away with that. But it's Etsy's kind of like a weird kind of beast for sure.
Yeah. I think it's mainly for like handcrafted items, arts and crafts, and like you said, you can sell T-shirts and hats and coffee mugs and stuff like that as well, as long as it's your design and it's not like Coca-Cola or Home Depot or something on it. As long as it's your design. I want to say hi to Lone Star Picker here in the chat. We got Russell here. We got this overstuffed house. We got Nikki T in the house. I have a question for you. Lone Star Picker has a question, and I have a question for you. Lone Star wants to know what is your goals or aims you have next year for 2021? I guess with your personal business and working and all that.
That's pretty funny because I was thinking about that today. Like, what are some of my goals? Because I actually, for a lot of this business that I've been doing this for a long time, I really didn't have any goals. I'd kind of fly by night. A lot of this stuff was a hobby for me because I had a full-time job. So it was just like eBay and YouTube has always been like a hobby. But, the last few years, I've been really thinking about goals because they're really important, because you have something to work forward to. And I think there's so many benefits to having goals. And I would say, like, I want to try to do 100,000 next year on my personal eBay pages. And I think I did some of the math. It's like what is it? Like almost like 300 and something dollars a day or whatever it is to get there. So I do have some goals, and we do have some personal goals for the American Cancer Society. That's one of the things that we do too. I don't know exactly what the goals are going to be for next year, but I know this goal this year was 200,000 in sales, and we're pretty close to that.
Awesome. So I have a question for you. How exactly are you balancing being a reseller, working your full-time job, being a YouTuber, and still making time to spend time with your family? Because I mean, that's not an easy task. There's not like, it's not a light switch you can just turn off and on. It's like an ongoing thing. You have to be able to balance your time with working your job. You have your own resale store, putting YouTube video content out there, and then when you come home, you still got to be a dad. Like, that doesn't just go away. You want to talk a little bit about that, Chris?
Yeah, you gotta actually kind of be a little crazy to do this job, to be honest. And it's really hard. I mean, especially with the family thing. And I have a great wife who, manages a lot of, the things that are going on with the kids and like all the doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff. So, that's she, having a great partner is probably one of the best things to help, resellers balance everything. And just sometimes you just need to stop. Like, you need to stop and kind of just smell the roses. And I know that sounds very cliche and everything, but if you find yourself like stressed out and just overwhelmed, just take a day off. Like, go for a hike, or go for a run, or go spend some time with your mom or dad, or your uncle or your brother or your sister. You know what I mean? Just like kind of just take a time out. For me, I'm crazy. Like I have so many, like I said, I have so many hobbies and stuff. It's just work-life balance is just chaos for me. Like I try to fill everything in at once, and so far I haven't had a nervous breakdown. So I'm really like not the greatest person to give advice for that, because I'm literally like 24/7.
Right, I'm with you. But yeah, I mean, if you get tired or burned out, it's okay to take a day off. It's like I live in Tampa near Clearwater, and sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to list any items today. I'm just going to go for a walk on the beach. I'm just going to chill, hang out with my nephews, spend time with my family, and just take a day off where I just chill. Because, if I sell something on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't have to ship till Monday. So I got time. It's okay to just go hang out with your family, get a bite to eat, take a day off, chill, relax. It's not the end of the world. I wanted to say hi to Harry for coming by. We got Overstuffed House. We got Russell is here hanging out with us. We got Nikki T here. We got Richie Hustles here. He said it best. You got to be a little bit of crazy to do what we do. And yeah, I mean, Lone Star Picker says learning boundaries and be able to step back is important. But having goals is important as well. It's just you don't want to get burned out where you're just like, I hate my job. I don't want to do this anymore. You got to have somewhat of a balance there a little bit. So
absolutely, I would even suggest scheduling in date nights, or kid days, and definitely like that. I think someone said a family priority first. Absolutely, because I mean that's like why we do a lot of what we do, is why we hustle so hard, is for our family, but also they might feel a little neglected, and I'm definitely guilty of that. I can tell you that right now. And so, it's just like you said, work-life balance, having a schedule, maybe scheduling some time in for everyone, that like you said, you shut your phone off, and you basically just use that time to spend with your family for sure.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of the whole point of you working, right? Is so you can be able to provide a better life for you and your family. And if you're just working all the time, where's the reward? So I have a question for you, Chris. So what are first of all, I want to know, do you have any tips to help people to make more sales with Christmas coming up around the corner? With fourth quarter, it's Christmas coming up.
That's a really good question. I've never really, here's a funny part. I've never really been those like, oh my God, fourth quarter's here, we got to really step it up kind of guy. Like I've always just been, I have it, I list it, I'll be done with it. But I will say, toys and games have always been trending in, Christmas time. I've learned a lot about Christmas ornaments. Like there's like Chris Radko, and there's Mercury Glass. There's a lot of great niches. Shiny Bright. There's like so many great niches in the Christmas category, especially different holidays, Hanukkah stuff. I would definitely. So I kind of, I do a little bit of the fourth quarter stuff. Like I'll save stuff from, in January or February. I'll save Halloween stuff, and then I'll list it in like, September or whatever. I would just say, if you have any Christmas stuff, now is probably the time to start listing it for sure.
Okay, well, I was just wondering, is there anything like a certain video game that we should be looking out for, or action figures, or is there any like Black Friday deals? Like I was looking through some of the Black Friday ads coming up, and I was like, oh, this is usually a $60 game. They have it at Best Buy for $10, $15, So is there anything in particular standing out that you know of? Maybe it's a hot electronics item, a cell phone, a video games, action figure. Is there anything that's something that we should look out for, that's going to be a hot item going into Christmas season?
I am definitely not a retail arbitrage guy, so I'm definitely the wrong guy to ask what's the hot new toy for Christmas of 2020. Maybe some kind of cool like mask, or or face mask or something. I have no idea. Like I'm old school, dude. Like I'm I'm a throwback, man. I know about old stuff and stuff that's come out. Oh, actually, you know what? This brings actually a good kind of thing to think about. Like 20 years ago, no one expected Pokemon cards to be like $200,000 for graded Charizard holograms and stuff. Right now, it'd be good to kind of figure out like what in the next 10 years, what's going to be that thing. And I think that's when I started to get into blockchain cards and all that kind of stuff. That's what I was looking forward to. But to be honest, I detest retail arbitrage. So I'm definitely not the guy to ask that question for sure.
Okay. I was just wondering. Like I said, I'll go out and look, but like I said, I like to hit items in bulk. I want to say hi to Jennifer Hayes, who's in the chat here today. My man Richie Hustles is here. We got Russell here hanging out with us, and Lone Star Picker. She says, "Hey Jeff, good vibes." We're trying to have a good day today. So, Chris, give me your ideas. If someone let's say if someone has a YouTube channel, how do they go from going 0 subscribers to 13,000 where you're at? I mean, it's not something that happens overnight. Can you give us some pointers? Give us some advice.
Man, getting to 13,000 was such a slow burn. Like, I applaud those that make a couple videos and they get 100,000 subscribers, man. Like, to be honest, I would say, make videos that, scratch an itch. So if you enjoy like basketball cards or whatever, maybe do some videos about you opening packs. I know there's a lot of stuff like that out there, but I would say just kind of consistently make content and be genuine with yourself and your audience, and basically fill a need. You think like, you enjoy computers or something. Well, maybe make videos about how to solve certain problems on your computer. Or if you're into reselling, of course, there's tons of like, garage sale videos and what's sold on eBay videos. Maybe do a twist on that. Take an existing idea and kind of expand on that, because maybe that will be the next thing. Like, how dumpster diving was so popular like 2 years ago. And there's not really that many dumpster diving videos that I've seen. So it's like, you got to figure out what's kind of popular, and you kind of got to give your own spin to it where your personality comes out. Because I think honestly, what really sells YouTube channels is the personality and the information too. Like you have to, like I said, you have to scratch an itch with your audience.
Yeah, it just takes time. It takes time. I mean, I think I've been making videos since January, February this year, and I think I just hit like 1,600 subscribers or something the other day. So I mean, it's not something that's right. That's just going to happen instantaneously. It takes a while. I wanted to say hi to a Lady Luck Junk for coming by. Lone Star Pickers here. He says thanks for being here with us. Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Jennifer Hayes dropped your link in the chat, and I'll drop it down below. Tell people where if they want to get a hold of you, where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me through my channel. I'm on Instagram at Thrift Shop Hustler. That's how you got a hold of me, which was really cool. I really appreciate that for sure. Back to the YouTube thing. It's like you said, it's a slow burn, and don't get caught up in trying. Here's the thing: is like I used to get caught up in like, oh my God, so and so's got 100,000 subscribers, or this person's doing better than me. You got to focus on yourself and making yourself better, because then that translates into other things. And don't get caught up on the numbers. Don't always say, oh, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. And I know that's really hard as humans to kind of get that. You got to fight yourself. Like don't think about it in those terms. Think about it how I can get better, how I can do a better job, how I could produce videos that are useful to someone or helpful to someone.
Right, got it. Now, give me your final thoughts. Give me your top 2 or 3 tips for reselling, and then give me your final thoughts, Chris. So let's say I'm a reseller. I'm doing it part time to make extra money. What should I be doing?
Researching, learning is earning. Like I say, like they say, knowledge is power. In this business, knowledge is money. Like if you know about a lot of different things, you can go walk into that estate sale and find something that 100 people passed up. Like I was saying, like art, like I'm into art. I know a lot about art. A lot of that stuff is still left in Goodwills and people don't really know. You can't take a scanner and scan a piece of art and be like, oh, this is worth $100. No, you have to do research. So my greatest tip for anyone that wants to earn more money is to learn as much as possible about all different kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, you might be walking right by profit and not even know it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I think we covered also. You need, going sourcing is the fun part, but buckling down and getting the items listed, doing the shipping, handling customer service, all that stuff comes with it. Though that's the thing. It's like, oh yeah, you had fun. We went to this yard sale and I got these 10 items. But if you just put them in a closet and shut the door, if you don't get the items listed, they're never going to sell. So that's my big thing, is making sure that you are actually getting the items listed for sale. And I'm not a big believer in making everything 100% perfect. Just get it listed. You can go back, and if you have a blurry photo, guess what? You can go back and edit that blurry photo. You can change the description or whatever later. Just get the items up and get it on the platform and get it listed, right? That's what I'm a big believer in, because going sourcing is great, but that's only part of it. Like I said, you've got the listing, you've got shipping, you've got customer service, you have other things that go along with it. Just get the items listed, and then once you put the work in, it's going to pay off. Anyways, we about running out of time for today. Give us your final thoughts, Chris, and we'll get you out of here, man. I appreciate you hanging out and spending time with us today.
Well, first, I really appreciate you reaching out. Like that means a lot to me for sure. This community is very large, and the fact that you took time out of your day to recognize what I'm doing and appreciate what I'm doing and reaching out to me, that means a lot to me. So I would say for anyone that's out there, if you haven't spoken to someone in a long time and you're thinking about them, give them a call today. Maybe give someone a hug that you normally probably wouldn't give a hug in your family. We take one day at a time, because this whole crazy world that we're in, there needs to be a little bit more positivity, and just like I said, keep a good head on your shoulder, and you're going to do okay.
Right, gotcha. I just wanted to say hi to some people in the chat real quick. We got the early bird here. We got Russell. We got Bearded Veteran. We got the Lone Star Picker here. We got Jennifer Hayes. She's linked to your IG channel here. And we got Lady Luck Junk here. So, hey, guys, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I want to thank our guest, the Thrift Shop Hustler. I'm going to say it right before the show ends. Hanging out with us. And you guys have a great day. Get busy, man. Get out there and get these items listed, all right? Y'all have a great day. And remember, Christmas is coming around the corner. So, make sure you get this stuff listed. This is when most of the people make the most of their money. Y'all have a great night, right? eBay Addicts, peace out. You guys have a great day. Catch you later. Bye.